Hello there, Internets. So, Elite Dangerous Beyond, or 3.0 Chapter 1, is currently being updated to the servers, waiting for the new updated launcher and all of that stuff to come available via Steam, since I run in Steam VR for the Oculus Rift. But I thought I would go over the finalized patch notes here. About to say the crime and punishment overhaul system is going to be in place along with ATR. I've commented on this before. I don't think it's as big of a deal, and I don't think that it's going to go far enough in order to solve the quote murder hobo problem unquote. I do like this system overall better than how it existed previously, but at the same time, I still don't think that it's the right tool to achieve its intended effect. But you can feel free to disagree with me on that. This says here, new crime recognized reckless weapons discharge. I'm assuming that's probably going to be a fine. And I've gone over how all of this has worked before. Missions, added new wing missions that can be shared across the wing and completed as a group. And it's going to be very interesting to see later today where these payouts land, because if they were similar to the payouts that we saw in the beta, I'm going to be very thrilled about this. If they nerf the payouts compared to what they were in the beta, as they tend to inflate them in the betas in order to consolidate testing time and stuff, then, well, prepare for angry rant videos. Mission Depot added, where players can accept an applicable mission and deliver the target commodity piece by piece to complete the mission. I've not seen this before, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I didn't explore the beta in all of that great detail, just didn't have the time to do it. If this is what I think it is, it's going to be the prelude or one of the core technology pieces that are eventually going to be needed in order to construct fleet carriers when squadrons come later this year. I was hoping that squadrons were going to be introduced in this update, but apparently they're not. That's apparently going to be coming later on this year. And for those of you who don't know, squadrons is basically guild mechanics that are being built into the game after 4 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it's been at this point. Which I think is a very good thing. I guess better late than never, but it'll be interesting to see if that's going to be enough to drive or draw people back into the game that maybe have put it down for a couple of years. But this is also going to be very interesting because this could potentially be utilized for things like station evacuations, to where, if there's a station with 1.2 million people on it, it should have a ticket countdown to it, where every time somebody goes to pick up passengers and then safely delivers them to the rescue ship, that number ticks down, and maybe successful completion of the goal is based upon what percentage of the people actually make it. Throw that into evacuation during the middle of a Thargoid assault, or pirates, or players, or what have you, and that could provide for some interesting and engaging gameplay risk. Of course, you would also have to make the rewards worth it for doing that. And then later on, these mission depots, and what I think may be utilized here is when it comes to rebuilding some of these stations and giving players a little bit more direction, as well as rewards and incentive to go out and haul, at this point, vast amounts of cargo in order to bring a station back online after it's been attacked by the Thargoids. To my knowledge yet, even though it's been 6 to 8 weeks, I think, since the first stations were attacked, none of them have been brought back online by player intervention as of yet. So it'll be interesting to see if this is what the Mission Depot system is there to do. Mission reward choice, excellent. New USS scenarios added. This could be interesting. I'm glad to see that. I just hope that this is facilitated more with the mission system, because else, a lot of times, unless you're material hunting for engineering, there's not a lot of reason to engage in USSs. Maybe this will change some of that. I don't even think some players even know that USSs really exist as a thing. Again, RNGs, but it'll be interesting to see what those scenarios are. I wonder if there's going to be some added mission scenarios too. And one thing that I did not see, but didn't go actively looking for it, is I hope that there's some Horizons only ground attack missions. As I've said many videos, many times, Kill the Goliath would be awesome wing missions, where a couple of you go in with SRVs to knock out the power generators. That takes out the anti-aircraft guns while your friends and their ships engage the enemy cap, or the cap that's flying above the or combat air patrol that's flying above the base, and then everybody combined to take down the Goliath. I think that would be a fun utilization of this new system. It'll be very interesting to see how well that pans out. Ships added a new alien attack craft, the old Thargoid scout ship, added the Chieftain, and a second seat added to the keelboard back to support multicrew. So the free Keeley people, you'll be very, very happy to know that. I'm actually kind of glad to see that too. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to have a single seat ship with a fighter capability. So that makes a fighter capable ship a very affordable option without having to do any type of reputation grind in order to achieve it. Just have to have the money, and it is a very reasonably priced ship. So that's going to be your entry level to fighter support, and I think in multi-crew too. So I think that's a very good thing. The trade galaxy, or trade data and galaxy map. This is very, very interesting, including the players can now view trending trade routes and filtered by AI or human players, which this is very interesting. One of the big problems that I've had with Elite Dangerous over the past couple of years isn't that the technology and stuff isn't going on behind the scenes. It is, it's just never been presented in a way that made any sense to the players, or not even presented in any type of GUI or user interface to the players. So all of this very complex things were going on under the hood, which actually gives Elite Dangerous a lot of depth if you want to explore it. But there was a huge curtain there hiding what the hell was going on behind the scenes from the player. And for the vast majority of people, especially folks that don't have 10, 12, 15, 20 hours a week to dig into this stuff, maybe only to get to play 4 or 5 hours a week, if that, it made it obtuse and impossible to engage with it. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the right answer in order to give players the ability to engage with it. The solution that I've proposed in the past is to have a trends tab in the station docking menu, and then you go in there and you could view graphs of what commodities were being traded, and also going back to the original proposed trade screen concept art that was part of the development process even before the initial alphas were released. So it's one of those things that it's definitely a push in the right direction here. We'll see how well this plays out, but it should give pirates and stuff like that a little bit more interest of where people are, people that maybe have flown around and be like, I never see another player. Well, double check and make sure that you're in open, but maybe this will also bring and highlight some of that information. Now, of course, the other problem is if you have half the population that's actively engaged in the game anymore playing in Mobius or some other private group or entity, or playing on the different platforms, just because there's a high trade route or high volume trade route going on doesn't necessarily still mean that you're going to find a lot of people there in open, which I still think is a critical flaw in the design of the game. Activities such as power play, and I would even say a manipulation of the background simulation, should not occur in solo and private modes. If you want to engage in solo and private mode for engaging in PvE, that is fine, but you should not be able to affect the political situation of the rest of the galaxy. And I would even go so far as community goals, that all of those would have to be engaged in open in order to participate and have your activities count. I know that's still a controversial figure or statement, but I stand by it. That if you want to engage in solo or private group play, by all means do with your friends and stuff, but you should not have that great of an impact on the wider universe around you. This still, however, doesn't negate the problem of people on PlayStation can be basically banding together to affect an outcome and open on PlayStation, and the people on Xbox and PC and vice versa all the way around can't do anything about it. So there still is that little hurdle that I freely admit you have to get under, or get over. Nonetheless, I still think that to actively engage and participate in community goals and the background sim, and especially power play, you should be required to do so and open for it to count and earn merits, etc., so on and so forth. Prison ships have been added to one of the routes to Colonia. Okay. Shipyards added to Canavari and Rahani. Okay. Material traders. I like the material trader concept. Again, Horizons only. engineering a modular weapon is progressively better improvements. Overall, I still don't think that the engineering system is perfect, but I like this overhauled engineering system far better. It's like Crime and Punishment. This is a far better system than we had before, even if it does take you a few more additional rolls to get a module from level 1 to level 5. So be it. I'm perfectly fine with that. My example has always been shield boosters, that once you got 1 to 5, you could then, let's say if you're going to roll 5 other shield cell boosters or shield boosters, you could do so at level 5, provided that you had the materials without having to regain favor with that engineer over and over and over again. So once you got to level 5, which wasn't that hard to do, it made subsequent modules very easy to equip. But at the same time, you could sit there and spin the wheel 100 times and still not get as good of a roll that somebody sat there and RNGesus praise be upon him, bestowed his or her blessing that day and granted them a god roll on their first try. So this evens things out and takes RNGesus out of the equation, and engineering becomes a lot more secular as a result, and I think a lot more fair and balanced as far as that goes. Because, as I say, the old engineering system, a lot of the, quote, top PvPers abused the hell out of an exploit. A lot of them lost their modules as a result of that. The reason why they were getting god rolls was they were spending thousands and thousands and thousands of materials, doing hundreds and hundreds of rolls in order to get that god roll to give them that extra edge over other players. After all, that's what they were seeking. Now, as it's designed, if you put in the time and effort, and it's not going to be that much more considerable effort, again, given that you have a known result. At some point, everybody's going to reach the same level, and that means the technology gap when it comes to engineering ships eventually is going to even itself out, where the elite PvPers who had god rolls before, basically they're going to find themselves on equal with everybody else, provided that everybody else now is able to play catch-up. And everybody essentially reaches that same plateau, not, a lot of people are kind of down here, and then you have a few select people that's just a little bit ahead of them and able to use that to its maximum effect. So, new weapons and technology, the technology broker contracts, this is supposed to create a personal narrative. I don't really believe that it does so, not in quite the way that they wanted to, or I shouldn't say the way they wanted to, because I guess that's how they wanted to do, but not in a way that I particularly find personally engaging. Maybe that's also because I've just been playing the game for so long, I'm just like, oh, okay, so do these missions, unlock gear, okay, or I guess you could say more grind, but I could also see if you're a newer player to the game, where this could be useful if you're standing there going, now what do? I need some sort of goal objective in order to work towards. Well, this might give those people a fulfilling goal or objective to achieve in the game. I don't know. We'll have to see how well that plays out. Let's see here. Size 4 Meta Alloy Hull Reinforcement Package. So I guess this is going to be the Corrosion Anti-Thargoid hull reinforcement. Medium Enzyme Missile. Remote Fletchet Launcher. Shock Cannon. I didn't get to play around with any of these. Recon Limpet Controller. And of course, that's for piracy, which got an overhaul. We can now pirate megaships, as well as there'll be NPC high-value targets flying around. I personally didn't see any of this in the beta. Again, didn't go necessarily looking for it. We did try to pirate a megaship. I'm kind of interested to see what the rewards are going to be, especially if they provide lots of materials rewards. So that would give people, again, another aspect of gameplay to engage with in order to get the materials that you need to engineer your ship. And this is the thing about the engineering and the progression system and things under this new model, is that so long as there's the options of being able to get these materials in subsequent quantities, that you can just play the game, that you don't have to go search out specific activities that maybe you don't want to engage in, like mining, surface prospecting, things of that nature, that a lot of people just find plain out boring, then I'm all for it. And if wing missions and now the option to select your rewards, whether you want more credit, whether you want more reputation, whether you want the materials that come up as offers with missions, and so long as those, like, we got 6 in cracked industrial firmware as one of the rewards in the beta. if that's the level of the reward for a wing mission, I'm going to be ecstatic about it because crack industrial firmware, yeah, there was ways that you could farm it, but it involved driving around the surface of the planet until you found a broken down satellite and then being there with a friend and logging out and logging back in order to basically game the system and farm cracked industrial firmware. And that was stupid. Now, I did get a lot of CIF and other type of data materials like that from Quince, basically exploiting the hell out of that while the going was good. And another reason why I actually liked Quince was it was exciting to go down and see the surface of this planet where there was 8 or 10 of these bases from everybody taking the missions and going down and doing a scan. It actually made the surface of a planet for the first time feel alive, like there was people and activities and stuff going on. That was kind of an amazing thing about Quince that I actually liked. At any rate, it's a shame that that feeling can't be captured in other aspects of just the day-to-day playing of the game. Galnet Audio. So this will read the articles in English, French, German, Russian, Spanish, and Brazilian Portuguese. Cool. It can be accessed via the station status menu over on the right-hand side, and audio can be queued to play into a playlist. This is one of those things I'm glad to see it because now maybe some people will listen to Galnet, read Galnet, see what's going on. Galnet, for the vast majority of the time that I've been playing the game, I haven't even paid attention to. A little bit more whenever the articles kind of used to be on the station menu screen, but since they kind of went hidden behind a couple layers of menus, never looked at it. Again, we're talking about the megaship interactions with the scans, hatchbreaker limpets, being able to pirate them. I think that is an awesome new mechanic. Hopefully that comes to more installations as the Beyond season moves on. Surface material system. Surface material system for rocky, high metal content, and metal-rich planets. Improved contrast and color variations between bodies, and coloration of surfaces now clearly telegraphs the chemical makeup and volcanic activity of the worlds. So this is more or less to do with the graphics, but this is also interchanged with the material system. So now, supposedly, if you kind of start to know what you're looking for in terms of material, you can land in different colored areas of the planet, and it'll be richer in those rarer materials that maybe you're seeking. So if you kind of start to know what generally the color of sulfur is going to look like, you can get an idea of where you need to land to collect that versus iron versus other materials. Quality of life, added synthesis for new technology brokers and modules, added synthesis for AX weapons. Hooray, we don't have to go out back to a station in the middle of a fight with the Thargoids if you run out of missiles. New voice cockpit assistant, Victor added as an alternative to Verity, so added a male voice to the game to be your ship's voice. It'll be interesting to see if they cooperate with HSC voice packs and add a few more. Even if they were add-ons in the store later on, I think I would definitely have, I would pay a few dollars to have John Delancey be a smartass, basically have Q as my ship computer voice. Options added so players can choose how flight controllers address them, commander name, or ship ID. Minor thing, but that is cool. Target and ore feature added to material and collectibles and refining. Hallelujah. Basically, with collector limpets, you can say, I don't want any of this trash material. If you're out just, say, mining for painanite or some other material, you can basically tell the collector limpet, only collect painanite, only collect the good stuff. I like that. Large number of Commander Journal updates. High-value supercruise targets for pirates to raid. Increased rewards for search and rescue contract. Per material storage caps, I think it's now like 350 for low-end materials and 100 for the high-end materials. All of that is very good. I think you also got increased module storage at stations. Portuguese language support added for consoles. 11 new achievements for Xbox One worth 200G. And then they're going into fixes and all of that good stuff. Yeah, I'm very excited for this to hit in the next couple of hours. They said that downtime is going to be approximately 9 hours. That was about 6 hours ago. I think I'm going to run out and get some lunch. It's about 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning. And provided that my wife doesn't go into labor between now and the release of the game, I will be in later this afternoon. I've also been playing around with Oculus Dash. I don't know if I've gotten it quite working yet. to where I can be able to bring up comments while streaming using Oculus Dash now without having to use a third-party program or anything like that. So basically, bring up a desktop monitor in the game and have it sitting on top at all times. So I'm going to be playing around with that a little bit here, and I will probably be streaming. Whether or not I'm going to be able to interact with the chat, don't know. Some of my buddies are going to be on whenever this releases, so we'll be able to do wing missions, probably get a chieftain, and all of that. So stay tuned, and thank you very much for watching. Well, I will see you soon in the galaxy of Elite Dangerous. Till then, see you next time.